Alright guys, welcome back to the Lombardi League weekly show. I missed a week. I apologize. I've started working nights and it really kind of messed up my schedule. So let's get started. I'll start with the Sleeper app and all the results of our games starting in week 4 because I am about a week late. Nobody even cares. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's look at the standings, the current standings after week 5, and we can talk about how we got there. I am no longer undefeated. I lost last week, or no, not this past week, but the week before. So we have 4 teams that are 3-2. It's surprising. You can see Patrick at 3-2. He was 1-2, so he's on a little bit of a hot streak there. We have 1-4 team. Bino's really not out of it yet, but yeah, so we're getting pretty close. I am currently the highest point scorer by less than 2 points, 664 for my team. Corey is in second with 662.16. But yes, let's go back to week 4. Start with the week 4 report. Wansky's been the best manager all year long, it seems. He's always got the best title. He's always setting up a really good lineup. Miller got 81%. Wansky got the biggest blowout of the week. Most narrow victory, Dylan over Spencer's team. Wansky got the highest score. Lowest score was Wes, 110. Patrick, here's the stock of Patrick going up this year. Overachieving, starting to get some dubs, below expectation. I took the L this week. Dak Prescott broke his ankle last week, so Wes is going to have to get a new quarterback, but this week he had a really good output from him. He also had this, here's where his 3rd round pick Tom Brady comes into play. He actually needed Tom Brady. He'll probably get a 3rd round value out of it, so who looks dumb now? Me. But let's look at the matchups. I lost to Justin, so let's take a peek at this, see what went wrong. What went right for Justin? He got 25 out of Kyler Murray, 27 out of Amari Cooper, 23 out of Chris Carson. Chris Carson's been really good this year. Let's take a peek at him. He's a top 5 running back, of course. Worst game he had was 9 points. But yeah, he's been pretty consistent otherwise. Jarek McKinnon got me almost 20. I sat Latavius Murray against the Lions because I have Alvin Kamara, and I do remember having Mark Ingram and Kamara on the same team, and they were both really productive, but I didn't even think about starting Kamara this week. Said Ayuk. Jonnu Smith was postponed. Jerry Jeudy had a long touchdown catch. But yeah, just not my week. Corey beat Wes by a little under 7 points. Aaron Rodgers got him 30. Yeah, Prescott killed it, like we already mentioned. But everybody else, besides one of Wes's starters, was in single digits. Thielen's getting touchdowns every week, it seems. Let's take a peek at Adam Thielen. The number 2 wide receiver overall. Worst week he had was 4 points, but he's still generally consistently in the 20s. I would never bet against Adam Thielen getting a lot of catches and a lot of points because he's their number 1 guy. All right, let's get out of this matchup. Bino against Brian. Brian was the highest point scorer. Lamar Jackson came back to life after that mediocre game against the Chiefs the week before. Allen Robinson had 7 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Traquan Smith was a really good pickup by Bino. He had 2 touchdown catches against the Lions. Mark Andrews came back to life with 2 touchdowns. Let's take a peek at him. It's ironic when you're a tight end, you can have 2 terrible weeks and get under 4 points, but have 3 weeks where you're above or close to above 15 points and you're the number 3 tight end overall. But yeah, good for Bino's team. He's coming back to life. Justin Jefferson had another good game. Galladay. Diggs has been crazy this year. Let's take a peek at Diggs. The number 4 wideout in PPR. We do half PPR. I wouldn't be surprised if he was still a top 5 scoring wide receiver. Let's see what's on the benches here. Nothing too noteworthy besides Gibson for Washington on the bench for Bino. Got a little over 22 points. Alrighty. So let's go Dylan versus Spencer. Dylan got the W. Very narrow W. Josh Allen, 26. Melvin Gordon had a huge Thursday night game, as we mentioned in the video before this one. Mike Evans had a good game. McLaurin, Cup, Kelsey over 10 points apiece. Ferg's 2 tight end systems worked out for him this week. Schultz for Dallas. Robert Woods, probably Robert Woods' worst output this year, but he got your back the week after, which we'll see after we go that route. Anybody benched? IR. You can see a lot of off rosters. Dylan moved on from a lot of these guys. And then, of course, the New England-Denver game was postponed, I believe, the week after. So all those guys were on IR. Miller versus Patrick. Here starts Patrick's winning streak. Let's see, Deshaun Watson, Dalvin Cook, Mixon had a huge game. Mixon, let's see, his point breakdown. Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns, over 150 rushing yards, 6 receptions. Really good game. Nick Chubb went on IR this week, but Odell Beckham caught 2 touchdowns, ran for 1 against the Cowboys, had a huge game. CeeDee Lamb in that same game had a really good output. Will Fuller has done really well for himself in Houston this year. You can see a lot of double digits on the bench here for Miller. If he would have sat Darrell Henderson for anybody on his bench besides Isabella and Deontay Johnson, he would have been better off. And yeah, in a 6-point game, that would have been the difference. Miller would have been 3-2 instead of 2-3 at that juncture. Okay, so week 5. We're going to start out with the week 5 report once again. Wansky, best manager. It doesn't hurt when you have all your starters are pretty much the same people every week. You don't really have to think about it too much. Justin still got over 130 points, but percentage-wise was the worst. Patrick's blowing people out. It's the damn Twilight Zone. Things are changing. Real close matchup. 3-point loss to Wansky. Corey was the highest point scorer of the week. Keep track of these. I have it all written down for our draft order. I will be doing 4 drawings today. Because I missed a couple weeks and because I want to get us to an even number as well. Justin Herbert, rookie for the Chargers, was the quarterback of the week. Really good pickup by Dylan there. Miles Sanders came back to life. Kelsey, Goff on the bench. Chase Edmonds has been doing a little bit better than Kenyon Drake this year. John New on my bench. My matchup came up pretty close to. Let's see. Dylan was kind of ravaged by injuries. He had to pick up Duke Johnson, who got him 2.4. Khalif Raymond, who I had no idea who the hell that was. Had to pick him up as well. I appreciate the effort. A lot of people would not set lineups and just give up. He did have Michael Thomas not play because he had some sort of altercation at practice. Go figure. Kamara, Mostert, Hopkins, Mahomes. My core guys are still performing. I think DJ Moore had his best week of the season. Chart got hurt with I think he had a head injury. Oh, leg injury, his ankle. So we'll see if he plays against Detroit for me this week. Robert Woods came back with a vengeance. 13 from a kicker is pretty nice. I did sit Montgomery on Thursday night against Tampa. I just didn't think it was going to be that worthwhile. But yeah, you can see Dylan's squad. He still had those 3 guys on the postponement. Edelman would have been a nice start. Thomas would have been a great start, you know. But yeah, so we will see. Melvin Gordon would have been a starter. So just a lot of guys, just unfortunate for Dylan. Corey beat Wansky, like I said earlier, by 3. 30 from Tannehill. Miles Gaskin, Jonathan Taylor for Bryant had over 14, almost all for 15 points apiece. Thielen again going off, 2 touchdowns against Seattle. DK Metcalf in that same game with 2 touchdowns, so that was almost a clean matchup there. Kittle had a mediocre week against Miami. San Francisco had a mediocre game against Miami completely, so we'll call that a wash. A.J. Brown had a really good game, so that A.J. Brown-Tannehill connection really helped Corey out this past week. Diggs still going off. Robbie Anderson, been a surprise. I thought DJ Moore would be the number 1 in Carolina. It turns out he's running the number 1 routes, but not the number 1 production. So in a week where Corey had a bye for Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Robert Tonyan, still managed to get the W. It's a good dub. All right, Bino against Miller. All these games are actually pretty close for the most part. Bino had a little under 4-point loss. Yeah, the hero from a couple weeks before, Traquan Smith, 19 the week before, 1.8 the week after. Yeah, it's kind of rough. So let's get that out of here. Kareem Hunt, now that Nick Chubb is on IR, is actually way more valuable. That's a great person to have on your team. Cook got hurt in this game, I believe. So Madison was a pickup of the week, his backup. Darrell Henderson came back. He came back to say sorry for Miller for losing him last week. Lott's getting 15 is nice. Marlon Mack's not coming back anytime soon. Galladay on a bye. So, didn't really have any bad starts, except for that Traquan Smith. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been kind of surprising that he's not been used the way you would think he would for being a first-round pick in most leagues. But I'm sure there'll be easier treading waters ahead. Patrick and West, the blowout of the week. Dak Prescott broke his ankle. Very unfortunate. Prayers up to Dak. Zeke Elliott's been all right this year. Yeah, let's look at Dak Prescott and just look at his numbers. He was the number 4 quarterback overall fantasy-wise, so that's a huge loss. Breeze, Connor, yeah, Malcolm Brown, not a great start. Juju had a mediocre game. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Hayden Hurst is kind of trying to figure out his role in Atlanta. I heard on the radio today, Austin Hooper last year for the Falcons caught about 75% of the passes that were thrown his way, and Hayden Hurst is in about like 52% of his catches. So he's got to kick it in the ass. Crowder's been a sleeper, a late round pick. That was good. And Patrick did not set a lineup and still won somehow. When you say, when we go to these draft orders and you say, Kevin, I set a lineup, that's bullshit. How can you even tell a week or two before if I set the lineup? Look at John Brown right now. See how there's that dash? It means he did not see the field at all. And I don't want to hear the excuses because Jackson played on, I believe he played on either Sunday night or Monday, that New Orleans game. He could have played him, could have played Ruggs. The Ruggs was a Sunday game, but Jackson was a later game. He could have figured it out. Chubb on IR. Chubb will be back in a few weeks. All right, let's go. Yates versus Spencer. H was projected to lose, and he actually got the win. Spencer starting Roethlisberger instead of Josh Allen, which is interesting. Josh Jacobs, Kyler Murray, Chris Carson, really good starts. Miles Sanders had a good week. A lot of these guys really didn't do much. Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin both had their worst outputs of the season. Hooper had probably one of his better outputs. Kelsey had over 100 yards and a touchdown. This Mike Davis has been a great pickup, replacing Christian McCaffrey. He's done really well this year. He's the number 6 in PPR. Since taking over from McCaffrey, as you can see, he has not scored less than 10 points. So doing really well there. 13 from a kicker. Cook's on the bench, had his best game as a Houston Texan. Emmanuel Sanders had a big game, 12 catches for 122 yards on Spencer's bench. Chase Edmonds scored a touchdown. But looking at the numbers here, the benching of Josh Allen this week was the right play. Josh Allen scored about 18, and Roethlisberger scored 20-something, 22. All right, so yeah, I already looked at the standings, but let's take another peek at it just so you can take a look. Myself in first, Corey in second, Wansky and Eights in second as well. Patrick also 3 and 2, tied for second place. We have another tie. We have another 4-way tie for technically third place. Miller, Wes, Spencer, and Ferg all are 2 and 3. And there's Bino alone at the bottom. We'll see if Bino is singing Lonely by Akon. She's lonely at the bottom. Or in a couple weeks she could be singing Started from the Bottom, Now She Here. But also, Now She's Here might be in like 8th place. So we'll take a look. We'll figure it out. Let's look at the playoff bracket. If the season ended today, this is what the playoff bracket would look like. So I am the 1 seed. I would get the bye. Corey would get the other bye. Eights would play Patrick in order to figure out who plays me in the second round. Miller and Wansky would play to see who plays Corey. And the consolation bracket would be what you see. Wes versus Bino, Spencer versus Ferg. So yeah, guys, we're well on our way. So let me get rid of this guy. Let's talk about the draft order. As of the end of this week 5, I am leading so far in draft odds. I have 5 out of 21. I had my rivalry win in week 2. I was the highest point scorer in week 2 and 3. I won last episode. I had my name pulled in the random drawing. Behind me, there is a 3-way tie between Justin, Corey, and Brian. Justin was the highest point scorer in week 1 and also had his rivalry win in week 1. Corey was the highest point scorer last week, and he won a random drawing as well. So that'd be 3. For Brian, he was the highest point scorer week 4, and he won his rivalry game week 1 again. And we got a couple people with 2 out of 21 chance. Spencer won his rivalry game, and Miller won his rivalry game as well. So those 2. And we have a 3-way tie with 1 chance. Wes, Bino, and Dylan are about a 4.7% chance at that number 1 pick. And you might say, Kevin, that's only 9 teams. Well, Patrick only had 1 ball, and he did not set his lineup. As you saw, John Brown did not play at all. So, unfortunately, Lombardi League rules state that I need to take when you do not set a lineup. So Patrick has no chance currently at the number 1 pick. But his team is on the up. He's riding a 3-game win streak. I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of the highest point scoring teams soon. But yeah, so I'm gonna do 4 drawings today. One will not include Patrick. So I'm gonna do three with everybody, and then 1 without Patrick, I believe. Obviously, whoever I pick goes right back in there. So I'm gonna do a speed round of 3, write it down in between, just so I don't forget who I picked. But let me take a look. Actually, I think Patrick is already out. So I'll do the one without Patrick and then put him in. I think that'd be the best idea. So let's get to spinning. All right, number 1. All right, first team with the extra odds. Alrighty, it is Wansky. So Wansky, congrats. You're getting closer to better odds at that 1 pick. So Wansky. Okay, so let's put Brian back in there. I'm doing 4 drawings, like I said. Patrick is eligible for these 3. So here goes Patrick back in. Okay. All right. Second winner is looking like me. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So adding to my lead. Alrighty. 2 more drawings. Let's see if I can get somebody who doesn't have good odds. See if we can even out the playing field. I want to get some for Bino and Berg and Wes. Alright, what do we got here? Alrighty. Chalk 1 more up for 8s. So 8s plus 1. All right, last drawing of the day, and then I can go over percentages and all that. Okay. And the break of the season for Bino. Second time Bino's got one of these random drawings, but she had an unset lineup, so now she's got 2 chances. So let me do some quick math. So I just got 1, so I have 6 out of 25 chances. So I'm sitting pretty. I have a 24% chance at that number 1 pick next year. Justin just got another pick, so he's at 4 out of 25, which would equal 16%. Pretty good odds there. Brian just got his 4th, so he's also at 16%. Brian's moving up these rankings. Let's take a look. Corey's sitting at 3 out of 25, 12%. Still better than 10. 10, obviously, 1 out of 10. Alrighty. Then there's a tie, a 3-way tie. I see Spencer, Miller, and Bino all have 2 out of 25% chance, which is about 8%. Dylan and Wes, 1 out of 25, got about a 4% chance. And Patrick, unfortunately, I didn't pull your name, so you have no chance at the number 1 pick. You have a lot of weeks to get these balls though, so I'm sure you wouldn't end the season with no chance. If you did, I think I would just award you the last pick. We are supposed to be going to a 12-man league, so that might actually be the 12th pick. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient with me as I have I'm adjusting to a new schedule, of course. And yeah, I'm still pretty happy with everybody. Been a lot of ups and downs for everybody so far. So yeah, guys, hopefully you're still having as much fun as I am, and I will see you next week. Good luck in week 6.